Welcome to Talmudic Treasures. Today we're learning Nazir, page 30, which discusses a situation where a man's father was a Nazir, and he designated money in order to bring sacrifices, which is required at the end of the period of being a Nazir. However, what ended up happening was the father died. Now you have this large lump of money which was supposed to be brought for sacrifices. So on this, it's taught that if the child says, and the father had died, that I will become a Nazir, but only on condition that I'm able to actually use this money for my own sacrifices, then we say that that actually works. He is allowed to do that. However, there is an opinion, that of Rabbi Yossi. He says that when it comes to, let's say, the father is a Nazir, and the son in the lifetime of the father is also a Nazir, and then the father dies, at that point we say this child is not allowed to use this money earmarked for sacrifices, but rather that money is going to go as an elevation offering or multiple offerings, and it will not be able to be used by the son. Instead, what's required is the son will have to buy his own sacrifices on his own. And the reason, as the Rush explains, is because this child, at the time when the father was alive, had his own obligations. He had his own requirement, because he was a Nazir, just like his father, to have to bring his own sacrifices, because he was already a Nazir. And therefore, at that stage, according to at least the opinion of Rabbi Yossi, he's not allowed to use this money. And we see from here an interesting idea, that when we find a situation where you have a child in which wants to be able to ride on their parents' coattails, because the parents may have financial stability and success. On this, the Talmud tells us that sometimes it's not appropriate that that child should do so. Rather, since you, the child, and we're not talking about a little kid, it could be talking about an adult child, since you have your own responsibilities, since you are old enough to be able to do what you have to be able to take care of the responsibilities of your life, you should no longer be relying and leaning on your parents. It's important at a certain stage for you to grow up and to be an adult and to accept responsibility for yourself. And therefore, if you decided to become a Nazir, you accepted upon yourself all of the financial obligations and responsibilities as well. And you cannot all of a sudden say, well, I want my parents to be able to support me. I want them to help me. No. When you make the decision to be able to do something, you have to realize there are consequences as well. So if you decide to take your own credit card and swipe it because you want to be able to enjoy all the different wants, not needs, but wants in your life, and then all of a sudden you want your parents to start paying for all those bills, on this the Talmud is telling us that is not the proper way. The proper way is to accept responsibility for your own actions. And when a person does that, you'll be able to be a more independent person, and also, by the way, much happier to realize that you don't need another person to be able to survive.